This is KTN Friday Briefing with Betty Kyalo.
You don't expect people to now start walking out of a strike and then they come back to work without a return to work formula.
No end in sight. Health workers vow to stay put. And the implications of Bensouda's latest move on President Kenyatta's case. Plus, Ugandan forces arrive in Juba at the request of the South Sudan government.
Governor anakaa Pampepa Guest House kwa pesa ya ushuru wenu. Hiyo ndio kitu hamkumchagua kufanya.
And Wetangula celebrates his re-election even as fresh battle lines are drawn in Bungoma. Of December 2013, just 5 days to Christmas and 11 days to a brand new year. Thank you for tuning into your preferred Friday bulletin. And tonight we have a great show lined up for you because the glory is here. Bishop Margaret Wanjiru, come on in and say hi to the viewers. Great to have you in studio. Great to have you in studio.
Yes, Betty, how are you?
Fine, thank you. Just look into this camera and greet the viewers who've been waiting to see you for such a long time.
Hello, everybody out here. That is Bishop Margaret Wanjiru of the Jesus is Alive Ministries. Between me and Betty, I'm the guest anchor, and you know what that means. The glory is here.
Indeed, the glory is here, and she'll be joining us in just a short while. Also, remember, Willis, the Word Master, is on standby for our Friday English class. But for now, let's have a look at our top stories tonight. Now, the health workers' strike continues despite earlier indications that there could be a breakthrough very soon. The Kenya Medical Practitioners and Dentists Union says the national and county governments must agree to compromise with them before public health services return to normal.
Day 11 and services in public hospitals are still grounded, with medics vowing to continue with their strike until all their demands are met.
You don't expect people to now start walking out of a strike and then they come back to work without a return to work formula. Yeah? And let me tell you one thing, that if you see a stage managed process, then it doesn't mean that it is authentic.
Representatives of the Health Workers Union visited Deputy President William Ruto's office yesterday, during which they delivered their proposals for a deal they consider reasonable. However, there has been no word from the DP's office. Matenda Chere says they have dropped some of their previous demands in order to make their dialogue process tenable. The union had demanded that a health law be enacted so that all their grievances are addressed jointly. However, they have now agreed that the parliamentary calendar should be followed.
We have made a lot of steps towards resolving the stalemate, and because we are trade unionists, we have been guided by the principle of give and take. We have actually softened on our initial stand so that we can be able to move towards resolving this stalemate.
In an effort to mitigate the suffering of patients, some counties have started the recruitment of health workers on locum basis. This is not going down well with the union.
Can you go to those hospitals which are claiming to have hired people and look at the qualifications of those people who are now being used to tell Kenyans that we are going back to normalcy, and then even talk to even the regulatory bodies?
There was actually doctoring. It was fraudulently obtaining signatures of people and pasting. There was no agreement. If you go to Machakos today, the whole county is still on strike.
Meanwhile, the workers at the Moi Teaching and Referral Hospital have given the national government and the governors a 24-hour ultimatum to resolve the issues that have led to the strike.
If this issue is not resolved in the next 24 hours, MTRH can be DU members who have been toiling to solve this to help the Kenyans who have been suffering in emergency cases will also be downing their tools in solidarity with the rest of the healthcare workers in the country. And we believe that this can help the nation to focus on this matter and have a solution soonest.
In Taita Taveta, striking doctors have been warned that they will lose their jobs if they do not return to work. Taita Taveta Governor John Murutu says his meeting with doctors and nurses was unproductive.
Wale ni wafanyakazi ambao wameajiriwa na serikali ya kaunti ya Taita Taveta, imebidi lazima tuchukue hatua kutokana na kitendo hicho ambacho koti imeamua mara mbili kwamba ni kinyume cha sheria.
As the tug of war between the workers, governors and the government continues, several people have lost their lives, some in circumstances that could have been prevented. Wilson Buru, KTN, Nairobi.
Now, ICC prosecutor Fatou Bensouda now says she will be ready to start President Uhuru Kenyatta's trial in May 2014. Well, this comes after she asked for a postponement of the case yesterday after two of her key witnesses either dropped or confessed to giving false testimony. Meanwhile, President Uhuru Kenyatta's party, TNA, has welcomed Bensouda's step of re-looking into the case, saying ICC all along knew they didn't have a case against Uhuru Kenyatta. James Smart with the details.
I've been informed, but I was informed through some press release from the prosecutor's office, and then subsequently brought and given the charges through official means. But that was the first time I got to hear that I was a suspect before this court.
The president's day in court was set 5th February 2014, or so it appeared. But then, yesterday, ICC prosecutor Fatou Bensouda revealed that she is forced to ask for an adjournment after two key witnesses either dropped or revealed that they lied in the original statement. In her statement, Bensouda says the challenges she's facing in Uhuru's case forces her to review the case and thus the adjournment for 3 months. The president's day in court had been preceded by the unsuccessful quest for a deferral by the African Union at the UN Security Council. It was followed by the Assembly of State Parties, which offered some concessions for Kenya. ICC observers say it may be too early to conclude whether the office of the prosecutor would eventually drop President Kenyatta's case, but they intimate that OTP's flip-flopping on Uhuru's case has done little to assure the world that the evidence it has against the president is sufficient. Indeed, in her statement, Bensouda gave indications that the nature of evidence in Uhuru's case has changed, and she has been forced to react. For ICC critics, Bensouda's act of asking for postponement is a win and a cause for celebration and jubilation. The critics argue that all along the ICC has known it doesn't have a case against President Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta and wonder why it has taken Bensouda that long to come to this realization. A statement from Kenyatta's TNA party says the prosecutor relied on intermediaries for collecting evidence. TNA claims the intermediaries fed the ICC with fake evidence from procured witnesses. TNA says the defense had strongly protested at quality of prosecution witnesses, saying in Uhuru's case, 15 witnesses were self-confessed Mungiki. On the flip side, it appears the ICC has a much more firm grip on Deputy President William Ruto's case, which is scheduled to continue in January.
Whatever allegations that have been made against me, I need to have the full knowledge of those allegations. To me, the allegations that have been made here sound to me like they can only be possible in a movie.
2 weeks ago, the Office of the Prosecutor filed a motion that would compel the Kenyan government to produce 7 witnesses against the Deputy President. The witnesses are said to have refused to cooperate with the court. Bensouda, in her application, claimed Ruto's team had frustrated and by extension interfered with her witnesses.
Prosecutor, indeed.
The court is yet to rule on that application and an additional application by Ruto to skip the entire trial when it resumes in January. James Smart, Friday Briefing.
Well, that story leads us to a big question tonight, and we're asking, do you think ICC should drop President Kenyatta's case? Do you think the ICC should drop President Uhuru Kenyatta's case? The number is 22155, 22155. You can tweet me at Betty Kyalo or at KTN Kenya, and I'll be glad to share your views during this newscast. Now, Uganda has sent in troops to help South Sudan secure the capital, Juba, at the request of the South Sudan government. This even as the Intergovernmental Authority on Government, IGAD, sent in a delegation in the quest for a political solution for the troubled country. KTN's Bilkis Nyabo now reports on the developments in South Sudan 5 days after the alleged attempted coup.
A Ugandan newspaper broke the news that Ugandan soldiers had been deployed in South Sudan's capital, Juba. It further reported that South Sudan had requested Uganda for assistance in securing the city. The first batch of troops reportedly left Uganda on Thursday and have already helped to secure the airport. They have also assisted in the evacuation of Ugandan nationals from Juba. At the time of the report, the aircraft that took the troops was on its way back to Uganda with 150 people on board. The soldiers are also expected to ensure the safety of Ugandans in Juba and support efforts towards a return to normalcy. Meanwhile, reports indicate that hundreds of Kenyans may be among those stranded in Bor. The town of Bor, 200 kilometers north of Juba and the capital of Jonglei State, fell to rebel forces and is no longer under government control. The UN peacekeeping mission is sheltering civilians in various locations, including Juba, Bentiu, and Bor. Kenyans in Bor have sent out messages calling for help. They claim they have received no food supplies in the last 3 days. This even as 3 Indian peacekeepers were killed when armed youth breached a UN compound where locals had taken refuge.
No.
Fears abound that the rebels' next step may be to take control of the oil-producing regions. Fighting has already broken out in Unity State, a northern state that is home to key oil fields. Foreign ministers from a section of East African nations have traveled to South Sudan in a bid to end the ongoing crisis. The high-level delegation from the Intergovernmental Authority on Development comprises ministers from Kenya, Djibouti, Somalia, Ethiopia, and Uganda. South Sudan has been in turmoil since Sunday night after troops allied to former Vice President Riek Machar allegedly tried to stage a coup, and Kenyans are returning to the country in the hundreds alongside South Sudanese nationals fleeing the chaos. The whereabouts of Riek Machar are still unknown. Fighting has erupted in 6 of the country's 10 states, and several countries have launched efforts to evacuate their citizens. Wilkis-Tanyapo, KTN.
Now coming back home to some politics, and Moses Wetangula recaptured the Bungoma senatorial seat, but the battle lines are already being drawn between the governor and the senator. During the campaigns, Bungoma Governor Kenneth Lusaka pledged his allegiance to Wetangula's opponent Musikari Kombo, which irked the re-elected senator. Linda Ogutu looks at what promises to be interesting times in Bungoma.
2012, I now declare Moses Masika Wetangula as duly elected senator for Bungoma.
Just hours after the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission declared Moses Wetangula the winner in the just concluded Bungoma senatorial race, and the Ford Kenya candidate was making the triumphant march. One that was meant to thank voters in Bungoma for voting him back as their senator. Months after the High Court nullified his election, citing electoral malpractices, the court principal was celebrating what has been hailed by many as a Western popularity contest between CORD and Jubilee. His win will now see the return of the only CORD principal and CORD's leader of minority in the Senate. But even as he sought to thank his people, this latest utterance by the Bungoma governor that seemed to pledge allegiance to his political opponent and the man who filed the petition that saw his election nullified by the Bungoma High Court was on his mind.
Gavana wenu hapa leo nimekuja kusema kwamba ninathibitisha yote ambayo tumesema kubaliana kwamba upate kiongozi kama Mheshimiwa Kombo ambaye atakusaidia kuweza kufanya kazi.
Probably a declaration that now sets the stage for difficult working relations between the governor and the senator.
Amesimama hapa post the ground siku ya tarehe 17 akasema yeye maslahi yake iko na Kombo na Musalia na Eugene na sisi ni maadui wake.
Bungoma governor was recently hard-placed to explain what was largely seen as a ridiculous budget allocation that included 53 million for entertainment, 30 million for travel expenses, 1 million for the speaker's regalia, and 20 million for pornography eradication. Wetangula says his work is cut out for him.
Mumeona vile governor anaharibu mali yenu. Mumeona vile mambo inaenda. Governor anakaa Pan Paper Guest House kwa pesa ya ushuru wenu. Hiyo ndio kitu hamkumchagua kufanya.
The CORD principal went on to pledge better life for his people under the leadership of CORD that has so far reaffirmed its strength in the region. For now, all eyes are on the senator and his governor and what promises to be strenuous working relationship that lies ahead. Linda Ogutu, Friday Briefing.
Now, Joel Onyancha is the new Member of Parliament for Bomachoge Borabu constituency after he won a close contest to once again affirm his dominance over politics in that electoral unit. Although a closely contested election, Onyancha, who ran on a TNA ticket, went against the tide to retain the seat in that region that is dominated by ODM supporters. Fredo Mulo brings us this story.
The winner of this election, Joel
Bomachoge Borabu's persistent fighter finally had his way after going through a second grueling by-election in his decade-long political career and triumphing over the rivals who occasioned it through a court petition. Despite the immense time and resources spent recapturing the seat, Onyancha was gracious in victory.
So I want to ask my colleagues who are my opponents who ran against me in this election, I want to ask them to work with me, because what was the goal of wanting to run a constituency is to be able to develop.
The contest had been a two-horse race between Onyancha and ODM's Peter Kimori, attracting a larger-than-expected voter turnout, which stood at 64% by the end of counting. A total of 24 out of 38,000 registered voters queued to give Onyancha his second stint in the august house.
From this painful experience, that we should devise a system of sorting out our problems, not through courts, through amicable solutions.
Graceful he was, and grace he got in return as his main challenger played the gentleman and conceded defeat. This becomes Onyancha's second interrupted stint in parliament after a petition in 2009 robbed him of the seat and left him in the cold till this year.
Despite the obvious voter bribery, despite our people being arrested, we have shaken his hand. We did that yesterday. I instructed my chief agent to concede to defeat, which was done yesterday.
The by-election results so far leave the power balance between the CORD and Jubilee coalitions unchanged, as all previous reruns have only confirmed that the two coalitions maintain their grip in their strongholds. After the grueling rallies, the endless campaigns and the promises, the hard part now begins. Bomachoge Borabu has one of the worst infrastructure problems in the county and neglected educational institutions. The victor has actually won himself a crown of thorns. From Kisii County, I am Fredo Mulo.
Now, veteran politician Ezekiel Barngetunyi is dead. 92-year-old Barngetunyi was a long-time political ally and personal friend to former President Daniel Arap Moi. Barngetunyi will be remembered for his role in Nandi politics and for his famous Kimalel goat auction in Baringo County in the early 1980s. At the auction, bidders, including the former president, would gather and place their bids on a goat of their choice. In a recent interview, Barngetunyi said that once a goat fetched as much as 100,000 shillings. The auction, scheduled just before Christmas, was intended to uplift the standard of life for farmers in Kenya. All proceeds go to the owner of the goat. Barngetunyi's death is a major setback for the auction, which was set to be relaunched next week. He died in Nairobi and is mourned by leaders across the country. Now, former President Daniel Arap Moi says he is shocked by his friend's death. Barngetunyi, Moi said, would also be remembered for his checkered career as a soldier, politician, farmer, and brave man. President Uhuru Kenyatta said that Kenya has indeed been robbed of a great politician. And Deputy President William Ruto also described Baringatonyi as a selfless and dedicated man. Right, we're just about to take a short commercial break, but before then, let's have a reminder of our big Q tonight, and we're asking, should the ICC drop President Uhuru Kenyatta's case? Should the ICC drop the president's case? The number is 22155. You can tweet me at Betty Kyalo or at KTN Kenya, and I'll be glad to sample your views as we move on. We're taking a short commercial break. Don't go away. Bishop Margaret Wanjiru is coming right up. Mombasa County disfigured by vandals.
We take the message to all the motorists, to Wananchi at large. Please, let us enjoy festivities. Let us not cause more accident. Let us not lose lives, instead of us enjoying happily with our families and so on.
You are watching KTN Friday Briefing.
Welcome back to KTN Friday Briefing. Now, a crime analysis report from the National Police Service shows that rape, robbery and murder cases shot up this year. The report, however, says the overall crime rate decreased by 8% compared to last year. And as KTN's Patrick Amimo reports, Kajiado, Laikipia and Kwale are reported to be the safest counties in the country.
The annual crimes report of the National Police Service covering the period between January and November shows a total of 882 rape cases were recorded across the country, an increase of 22% when compared to the same period last year. The most notorious counties in rape cases were Kiambu, Nakuru, Turkana and Murang'a. 1,749 murder cases were reported in the year and were prevalent in the counties of Nairobi, Kilifi, Kiambu and Nakuru. When it comes to robbery with violence, a total of 2,490 cases were recorded. According to police records, Nairobi County led the pack, followed by Kiambu, Nakuru, Kakamega and Meru. The police report indicates that this year recorded a decrease in crimes related to general stealing, burglary, housebreaking and defilement. The police also face the challenge of dealing with organized crimes. Early in the year, supporters of the Mombasa Republican Council attacked police officers and election officials. 19 people were killed during the attacks, among them 11 police officers. 118 MRC supporters were arrested and arraigned in court. Incidents of kidnappings were largely experienced in the months of June to October, especially in central Kenya and Nairobi region, with abductors demanding ransom in most cases.
Mbakumi model is a good concept that members of our society must embrace at all times. If all of us can be able to adopt in our cadet estate, in our areas where we reside, then definitely incidences of crime will be reduced drastically.
The police boss noted that Al-Shabaab militia still pose a security threat in the country, as exemplified by the September terror attack at the Westgate shopping mall, where 67 people were killed. Al-Shabaab recruits have continued to launch sporadic attacks in the border towns of Garissa, Wajir, Mandera and in Mombasa and Nairobi, using either hand grenades or improvised explosive devices, as was the recent explosion in an Isli Matatu at Pangani.
Every citizen must now become a detective for the purposes of this war and expose these criminals before they execute their salvage acts.
The Kenya Human Rights Commission says insecurity has continued to rise across the country this year, resulting in deaths, maimings and loss of property. The Commission, which was also giving its report on crime in the country for this year, also called on the security agencies to pull up their socks.
The buck stops with the president when it comes to the security and safety of our country. We want our country's safety and security back.
Patrick Amimo, KTN.
By the state.
Right, so it's that time when things get interesting here on KTN Friday Briefing, and joining me this night, or this 20th of December, is Bishop Margaret Wanjiru. Thank you so much. Great seeing you. You look lovely.
God bless you.
A number of people said, Betty, you should watch out. Bishop might just take your job.
Now I've got enough in my hands.
You have enough.
I'll just support you for tonight.
Oh, really?
Yes, I'll support you for tonight.
So now, what have you been up to? It's great to see you, and I'm sure very many Kenyans are wondering, where has she been?
First of all, I've been preaching.
Great.
I run a service that goes 6 a.m. to 7:30 a.m. every morning, Tuesday to Thursday. That is Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And then I have all the other services going on. I do a conference every week. And of course, we run like 21 services in a week. That's 21 services.
And you're the one who oversees them?
Not all of them. I have other pastors that work with me. Okay. But in between also, I do a lot of other things.
Like what?
Oh.
Give us a hint. Just one or two things.
Like I'm working on my books.
Oh, really? Yeah,
yes.
I read that you're
I've been writing a lot of my books, but I've not been publishing. And then I've been teaching from them. So now I'm at that level whereas I can finish the manuscripts and then begin to publish.
What are these books about?
Oh, Christianity. Me, I preach the gospel.
Okay.
I preach the gospel. And of course, somewhere along the line, there'll be one that merges or brings in the issue of church and politics somewhere along the line.
Which is very important because you have been right at the center of it all.
But the number one book that is about to come out very soon is that no more curses, only blessings.
No, I like that.
No more curses, only blessings. And believe you me, as a country, we need it.
Exactly.
Yeah,
especially moving on to a brand new year.
Yes, we need it.
Now, Bishop, we got a hold of a very nice video that I think...
I've seen a lot.
No, this one I think is very special, especially now that we're entering this Christmas festive season.
Yeah.
And I think let's just play it for our viewers. Just a bit of it. It's a nice rendition just to get us in the mood, you know, Christmas.
And wishing Kenyans a Merry Christmas. And there is something that people don't know about me. I sing a lot. I sing my own songs. I sing songs by many other artists. I may not produce like most of them, but I sing. And, you know, I have a ready audience. So I just sing and present. And that is one of those occasions. I will save you the questions of how did you get that music, but you'll tell me another day.
No, don't worry, it was legal. Now, yeah, it was very legal.
Okay.
So, I mean, so you sing different songs.
Yes.
This is Christmas. Do you do some for Easter and
yes, I do some for Resurrection, that is Easter. Then, like, for example, if we are doing a conference on healing, I do songs on healing. Whatever is the theme, I do songs to merge, to just complement that theme.
All right.
Yes.
So, I mean, going back to a bit of politics and, you know, the past, just a bit of that.
Yes.
Do you regret ever getting into politics?
No, I don't. Why should I? I don't. I did very well. And I'm not done yet.
You're not done yet?
Oh,
so are you saying that 2017 you might just be on the ballot paper?
Don't worry, it might not wait that long.
Oh, really?
Don't worry.
Okay.
Leave it to God.
We leave it to God.
Leave it to God. He'll do his own thing.
So you do not...
I'm his vessel. He'll do what he wants to do.
All right. So during your active politics, you served as a member of parliament for Starehe. You
Yes.
also the assistant minister for housing. How are you able to balance between church and politics? Because those two, I don't know, it's very difficult to balance between both of them because they say politics is a dirty game.
Let me say something, even out of what has happened today. Moses Wetangula got back his seat as a Senate. He is a wonderful gentleman. Wetangula does not do dirty politics. That's why I call him a gentleman. And he has survived in politics. You don't have to do dirty politics to be in politics. You need to choose as an individual, what do you want to do? I, Bishop Margaret Wanjiro, first of all, I cannot do dirty politics because it's unethical. It's not biblical. My principles limit me to how much I can say and how much I can do. I need to choose between the right and the wrong. And if I stay with the path of the right, somewhere along the line, God will see us through.
Do you think that you transferred some ideals of you as a Christian to
Yes.
politics in this country, and how?
Yes, to some people. And I have a very good number of young people nationally, not just in Nairobi, that I have raised up, that I have mentored, and most of them today are in political positions. And that doesn't stop. We continue from there.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Your church, how did they feel when you said that you wanted to go to, you wanted to begin this career in politics?
They are with me. My church has always been with me, and not only my church pies, the Giam congregation, the Giam family. Let's talk about the church in this country. We know that we are the salt of the earth. We are the light. Where there is darkness, we must bring in light. If we don't bring good leaders, principled leaders who are in righteousness, then how do we then say that we have a bad country, the economy is not doing well, we have corruption? We cannot do away with the evil unless we raise up men and women who fear God.
All right.
Yes.
I like that.
Yeah.
So for now, we'll continue with this conversation, but for now, I want you to take us through an intro. For the first time now, you won't be pastor, you will be bishop rather.
Yeah,
You will be an
I'll be an anchor at KTN.
at KTN.
Okay, let's go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, this is Bishop Margaret Wanjiro. I'm a guest anchor together with Betty, and I'm bringing you some news from Mombasa. Vandals have hit Mombasa County, and they are not leaving any metal lying around. They have gone as far as stealing from historical artifacts. Mombasa residents are now concerned that if nothing is done about the situation, could get out of hand. Najma Ishmael now tells us the story of metal-less Mombasa.
Kengeleni in Kisauni got its name from a huge bell that was erected by missionaries many years ago, but now it is no more. Vandals have stolen the symbolic bell. In Mwembe Tayari, 4 statues of freedom fighters symbolize the struggle for independence. But look closely. Kapombe, one of the freedom fighters, is missing his walking stick. This too, the vandals stole.
Na takana ulinzi ufanyike hapa Nyali Bridge. Kwa sababu ni hatari kwa maisha ya mwananchi wa kawaida anayepita kwa maguu.
Nyali Bridge hasn't been spared either, and the vandals are slowly plucking the road rails, exposing pedestrians to grave danger. Manhole covers have also been removed. Mohammed Abbas, who is a county officer in charge of transport and infrastructure, has issued a stern warning to scrap metal dealers who purchase the stolen items. He says the Mombasa County government will soon conduct a crackdown.
Wakiona mtu yoyote anafanya kitu chendo kama hicho, wamshike na hapo watupigie simu polisi.
Najma Ismail, KTN Friday Briefing.
I think you did great.
Yes, I can take over your job if I want to, but I'll spare you, young lady. You're beautiful on the screen. I want you to stay on.
Thank you. And then I'm not sure if I can
you once in a while.
All right. Please,
Yeah.
you're welcome. And I'm not sure if I can preach.
No,
So we can't exchange.
So
Yeah. Let's just keep our jobs as they are.
Exactly.
Now, Bishop, you have such an inspiring story, and I think it's apparent that we talk about it. That you were once a house help. Tell me I'm wrong.
No, you're not wrong.
That's true.
I was a house help, and then I became a hawker on the street selling handkerchiefs and earrings. I used to sell jewelries, whoever buys. And out of that, I met somebody I'll never forget. He was driving a Peugeot 204 and those years. And he gave me his business card and told me to look for the factory where he works. He'll get me a job. That's how I got a job as a toilet cleaner in industrial area.
A toilet cleaner?
A toilet cleaner.
I was thinking you'd say now you got a job as a secretary.
No.
Or
I couldn't qualify for a secretary then. I got a job as a toilet cleaner. That's where now I started. That's when I started educating myself, going to college, graduating, doing all the things that I've done over the years. That's where I really started. And surprisingly, by then, I was a very young mother. I was not very old. I became a mother when I was just about a teenager around there. So you can imagine, I've got two kids, and I'm working and I'm educating myself. But here I am today.
And you're taking care of them, of course.
Oh, now they're big men. They took care of me. I used to take care of them. Now they take care of me.
But then it's really inspiring, from a house up to a hawker to a toilet cleaner.
Yes.
Who would know? I mean, that's, I think, the story of so many other young Kenyans who are trying to really make, to have their big break. But then it's really not coming. What can you tell young people who are out there and struggling?
One thing that I must tell the people that are struggling is that, one, you must believe in yourself. If nobody else believes in you, you must believe in yourself. Secondly, you must do what is right. You know, we have a shortage of honest people, transparent people, accountable people. My boss trusted me when I went to work in industrial area, the toilets, because I was honest, because I was transparent. I could take responsibility. And I started growing from cleaning toilets to cleaning vehicles to cleaning offices to filing, now to the office, until by the time I left that company, I was a marketing executive.
Wow.
Yes, I grew and increased. I took over departments. I was a marketing executive. But why? Because of the principles that have guided me all my life.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're being patient and,
Yeah, and one must work
aggressive.
hard. Because we have a problem of, okay, let me see. Work hard and work smart, because many people work hard but they don't work smart. Other people don't work hard, they just lazy around and expect that things will happen how. You must work hard but also work smart.
You mentioned about your two sons. How's your family?
My family is doing well. I have 2 sons and 1 daughter.
Oh wow. Okay.
And everybody talks about my 2 sons and forgets my daughter.
How now? Maybe you don't get to hear what they say about your daughter. I'm sure that
I have my 2 sons and my daughter. And then of course out of them I have a son-in-law and 2 beautiful daughter-in-laws, and I have 4 grandchildren.
Oh wow, you're blessed.
I am a young grandmother.
Proud. I like that. Yeah. And you spend a lot of time with your granddaughter.
Oh yes, I love spending time with my children. And my granddaughter, the first one, the first granddaughter is my best friend. She actually stays with me.
Oh, that's lovely.
Yeah, she can go visit the parents, but she always says, I'm going back to grandma. She comes.
I want us to go a bit spiritual and just ask you, if you are born and lived in the Bible times, who would you have wanted to be?
Deborah.
Okay.
I would have wanted to be. Deborah is a deliverer. She's a prophetess. But she's not just a prophetess. She goes to war. And she says to the men, come, let's go to war. And they dilly-dallied. So she did what was right. And she led the nation to victory. Deborah is my type of person that I would like to be. Esther is another one. Esther, full of wisdom, full of grace and favor. And she delivered a whole nation. That is me. I want to see people delivered and blessed. I want to see our country enter into rest. I want to see ourselves out of poverty. I don't know why we still struggle with poverty. I want to see our leadership coming to a level whereas we can be held accountable. Where I was listening when you were reading news, and there was this news about some county. I think it's the same, is it Bungoma? The same place. Yeah, where they're talking about a governor that now must account for money he has spent. I don't know, 1 million on some robe.
So many
How do you explain 1 million? You know,
Mm.
we need to be held accountable, and we need to walk in transparency. We need to raise what I would call servant leadership. So when we do get there.
All right, we will.
Yeah.
Okay, great. I think I would have wanted to be Mary. I mean, to give birth to the Messiah.
To baby Jesus.
To Jesus.
There will be no other Mary. There will be no other Mary.
I think I would have, but I would at least
Duplicate Deborah and Esther and others,
but not
there will
Mary.
be no other Mary.
Oh, too bad. All right, we'll come back to you in just a short while.
Yes.
So just stay put and stay pretty.
Okay, thank you.
All right, now in the recent months, there has been no shortage of praise for Machakos Governor Dr. Alfred Mutua and his ambitious plans for his county. But now some residents say Mutua should first resolve the county's immediate challenges of water shortage and hunger. Take a look.
This is the master plan for Machakos City, soon to be Kenya's premier hub for business, residential houses, and leisure. Currently under construction is the Machakos Recreational Center, completed with an international standard amphitheater and other facilities. The mega project in a region that has seen decades of water shortage, hunger, and drought took the country by surprise. The debate began immediately on whether it was a case of lopsided priorities. The residents of Machakos have their own thoughts on the project.
When we are compared with other parts of the country, we've always lagged behind. Can you even think of having an airstrip, just a simple airstrip, live about having an airport that we are hearing about? It's a very good idea.
Even before we started our planning and our program, we went to the people and we talked to the people. And we held sessions in every ward where we asked Wananchi whether they liked the idea of where we're moving. And we got a lot of support.
The Machakos governor hit the ground running, becoming the first to appoint a county executive team. Then soon after, news of the Machakos City project hit the headlines, triggering an immediate controversy that put the governor against Senator Johnston Muthama. Was it the right time for this project?
Hakuna mtu atatoka India au Marekani au kudulo katika mama za kwa kijana. Hakuna.
You'll always find people who are going to fight change because they are asking themselves, what is it in there for me as an individual? And as a governor, I'm telling them, there's nothing in there for you as an individual. Everything we are doing here is for the children and the people of Machakos County.
Indeed, I encourage other county governors to borrow a leaf from Machakos County and focus on economic development.
A section of the residents insist those outside the county of Machakos are missing the bigger picture. But have the other concerns of Machakos residents taken the back seat?
Machakos town tumekuwa na insecurity, like that area imekuwa na insecurity. Kwa hivyo hiyo area Migwani area, that area showground itakuwa enough security ya nini, kwa sababu ya city ambayo itakaribia hiyo area.
If with time all these things comes to reality, then Machakos would be the place to be, as the governor says, and we really anticipate to be there when this time comes.
Competition is good. Innovation only comes through competition. Business growth, county growth, government growth is through competition. If we're doing something right in Machakos, it will force others to try and copy us and also do the same things. If somebody is doing something great in Mombasa or in Turkana or somewhere, it will force me to try and catch up, to be like them or to surpass them.
For now, all eyes are on Machakos County, a county that has now made itself the case study for the entire eastern region. Charity Kimani, KTN.
Stay tuned, don't go anywhere. We will be back after the commercial.
In association with KCB.
More than 50 years before our country began her journey, we began our own. Unlocking tomorrow, today. KCB, making the difference.
You are watching KTN Friday Briefing.
our top story tonight. And striking health workers have now softened their stance on their initial demands. They, however, insist they will not go back to work until the government assures them on devolution structures. Among the demands they have dropped is the establishment of a health service commission, which they say can be established at the government's convenience. The health workers have for 11 days boycotted their workstations, demanding that their salaries are to be paid by the national government, even as the services are devolved to the counties. Time for our English word master Willis Acheng to take us back to school to learn how to pronounce those troublesome English words. Willis, good evening.
Good evening, Betty. How is the capital city?
The capital city is great. Now, Willis, during the week, a number of primary school kids, actually, before I continue, do we say primary or primary?
We say primary. Some people find themselves saying primary, but the correct pronunciation, Betty, is primary.
Primary. Okay, so this primary school kids asked me to ask you, do we say diameter or diameter? Quite an interesting lot of kids there.
Many people say diameter, perimeter, barometer, chronometer, but we don't say meter, we say meter, diameter, not diameter, perimeter, barometer, and chronometer.
Now, Willis, how do we pronounce words that feature these two letters while, which follow each other, NG, like say younger or younger?
Well, Betty, that word is pronounced as younger. We have young, but we don't say younger, it's younger. Just like we say stronger. So, we have long, longer, longest. We also have strong, stronger, strongest. And we also have young, younger, youngest. So, nothing like young, it's younger.
Interesting words there, younger, not younger. All right, do we say funeral or funeral? That one has quite a number of pronunciations from different people.
We say funeral, not funeral. Most people say funeral, but the standard pronunciation or the acceptable pronunciation is funeral.
Okay, let's move on. What do you call the person who couples go to for advice? Do you know that person I'm talking about?
You're talking about counselor.
Okay.
We don't say counselor, we say counselor.
All right, what of that advice that the counselor gives you?
That one now is counsel, a counsel, not cancel, counsel.
All right, still on that train of thought, how do you pronounce the word that means calling off an event that was planned for?
Oh, that one now we say cancel, to cancel something, that is to stop or to give an order for something to be stopped.
Okay.
You have cancelled, not counseled. Now we don't have that vowel glide, what we call a diphthong technically.
Those words that you use. Willis, do we say alarm or alarm?
The first pronunciation, Betty, alarm. The stress is on the second syllable, not alarm. You say alarm, just like we say alarming, alarmist. And we have another word, alas, alas, not alas. We also say alert. I was alert, not alert. No.
No. Okay. Do you have a surprise word tonight, Willis?
Surprise, as usual. There is this word that you find many people saying, obesity. I know so many Kenyans and beyond will find themselves saying obesity. We don't say that. The correct pronunciation for that word is obesity. Obesity. We have what we call a long vowel E after the sound B. Obesity, not obesity. And we don't say obese. We say obese. Obese. Very tricky word there.
All right, let's now move on to our feedback. And Stephen Wagako wants to know the difference in pronunciation of order and order. The first order is like, you know, this a smell. And then the second one is like, Willis, I order you to be my guest anchor next week on Friday briefing.
When we talk about smell, there is that slight glide or slight vowel glide, O. So you say odor, odor. But when we talk about O-R-D-E-R, we talk of O, a long vowel O at the onset. So you say odor, odor. The other one, odor. That is for smell.
All right, Willis, thank you very much for tonight's class. Looking forward to next week.
Next week, it's like I should be in the capital city.
I think so. I think it's time that
Well,
you came to
No
studio.
problem. Otherwise, see you next week.
All right, thank you very much. Willis, the word master, coming to us live from Kisumu County to teach us those troublesome English words. Mind your language only on Friday briefing.
Mind your language indeed. That's very interesting. We need to check out our English language. Well, it's getting very sporty inside here, and we want you to join us. Lynn Washira, what do you have for us tonight?
First of all, it's definitely a pleasure to have you here. And I'm thinking that thing, I don't know what it's called, the one that you're wearing, can match my earrings. Yeah, so maybe after the bulletin we can talk. And now to the sporting scene, we have some football news, some rugby news, and so on and so on. So for you who is watching at home, definitely we'll be back after a short break, so stay with us.
Matatu operators on Langata Road accuse traffic police of extortion.
You are watching KTN Friday Briefing.
A very good evening and a warm welcome to KTN Sports Today. I'm Lynn Washira. And shifting gears now from soccer to some basketball news. The fight for the Kenya Basketball Women's League title intensifies tomorrow when USIU Flames welcomes the Kenya Ports Authority in Game 3 of the best-of-5 matches at the Nyayo National Stadium. As it stands, the two teams are at a 1-1 draw. The Flames won Game 1 last Saturday in Mombasa, but KPL leveled the series when they won on Sunday. Nairobi will host Game 3 and 4 and possibly 5, depending on how the third and fourth games go. The Kenya Basketball Federation has set Monday as a match day should the title not be decided on Sunday. Cooperative Bank won the men's title. And to some positive news now, the Kenya Rugby Football Union has targeted the 2015 and 2016 season as the appropriate one to host one of the International Rugby Board leg of the World Series. KRU is building its case around Safaricom's acquisition of the naming rights of the main stadium, Kasarani. Safaricom has been the main sponsor of the National Rugby Sevens series and the Safari Sevens, and this year's edition was staged in Kasarani. Kenya Rugby Union chairman said today that that Kenya will be making a bid to host one of the legs starting from the 2015-2016 season. For Kenya to be considered among the 10 or 11 rounds from a current 9, the country must demonstrate its hosting abilities and capacity. IRB's technical team will start evaluating Kenya next year from March. Safaricom's refurbishment of the 60,000 capacity stadium in Kasarani has earned marks already, but there's still a lot more to be done, including government guarantees. Putting up a warmer pitch, top-class changing rooms, properly demarcated corporate guest group suites will just be a few of the requirements the IRB inspectors will be looking for when they come calling. And well, that does it for KTN Sports today. But be sure to join us tomorrow for another action-packed edition of the Sports Bulletin. I'm Lynn Washira, but right now I'll hand you back to Bishop and Betty to wrap up the bulletin.
Well, thank you, Lynn. You did very well, and thank you for filling our day with sports. We are really indeed blessed. Now, Betty, it's back to you. Take it over from there.
Thank you, Bishop. You're really getting good at this. Let's now have our news ender. And striking Matatu operators today paralyzed transport along Langata Road for hours. Angry Matatu drivers blocked Langata Road, chanting and burning tires. Well, they accuse the police of harassment and extortion. Police officers in the area claim have been asking for bribes from operators of public service vehicles on the route.
Menja ameongoza kikosi ya watu 7 wakashika watu 28. Wale watu walipelekwa kotini jana, dereva wangu walikuwa mmoja na walikuwa watu 5. Watu 23 wakakula kila mtu 5,500. Ile kitu ungeomba kwanza inasikika.
Right, so we have come to the end of KTN Friday briefing, but before I let you go, there are a couple of questions that have come through from the viewers. An interesting one is from, I can't remember, Kamili. He was asking, when are you getting married? Are there any prospects? If there are people out there who want to send in their, CVs.
I will get married when the Lord provides. Exactly. The Lord will provide. I don't know why Kenyan men fear successful women.
Oh, really?
But when they do adjust to allow women to prosper and thrive, because God has blessed us. The Bible says we are all blessed equally. So when God provides, I'll let go.
So that's a message to men out there. Don't be afraid of powerful women like us.
Yeah.
I like that.
Like us.
Like us, yeah. I like that. And then finally, the glory is here. Where did that come from? Because it's a signature statement.
Yes.
Where did that come from?
It came from the Lord revealing to me his glory. When God revealed to me his glory in the early 90s, and the Lord commanded me to start a television program entitled The Glory is Here. So many people, some people don't even know my names. They don't know whether Margaret Wanjiro or Margaret Wamboy, Margaret something, something. But actually I'm Margaret Wanjiro. But even those who do not know my names, they know me for revealing God's glory.
Exactly.
And that's why I was called, and in return the television program was called The Glory is Here.
I like that. All right, so it has been such a pleasure having you in studio. Hope you come back later.
I will come back.
Also invite me over there. Maybe I can preach a
come and sing with me.
Exactly,
and
I love that.
They better know that if they want the Christmas song, it's on YouTube. They can look for it and get it.
Okay.
And they will be blessed.
All right, thank you for watching. Betty Kyalo. Have a lovely weekend.
I'm Bishop Margaret, and The Glory is Here.
The Glory is Here. Have a lovely night.
Good night.